Okay, Jeff Zrebeck, who was out to every single OTA and minicamp practice, did a stock up, stock down for Ravens players after he watched them all. And I didn't grab his whole list, but Bobby, what I try to do is get 4 for stock up, 4 for stock down. We'll kind of get through this, but we will start with what I think a lot of people in the chat will like, because we've been asked about this guy a lot. Lots of people are picking him as their dark horse Raven, and that is one wide receiver, Devontez Walker. Jeff says if there was a most improved award given to a returning player at the end of the offseason program, Walker would have won it in a landslide. As a 4th-round rookie last season, Walker was barely noticeable through the offseason workouts and training camp. This season, he made a play or two in nearly every practice, showcasing his size and speed. And Bobby, he does have speed.
Yeah.
Remember, he beat Nate Wiggins when they played each other in college. And Jeff goes on to say, with a year under his belt, he's playing faster and he's exhibiting more confidence and polish. John Harbaugh said he's got a chance to be really good. So there's your first stock up.
Yeah, he's 4.36, by the way. It was his 40 time at the combine. We remember the eligibility issue that sidelined him the first half of his final year at UNC. Once he did get onto the field, Sarah, it was immediate production for Mac Brown and the Tar Heels. A ridiculous amount of speed and skill, mostly special teams last year. The toe drag touchdown in the Giants game left us all wondering, could this guy be this candidate that he now clearly is, at least early in this program prior to training camp? And look, it's going to be a jam-packed wide receiver room. I suspect that he will continue to have a wide receiver role, or a special teams role. And then anything outside of that is gravy. But the fact that he is here, Sarah, for the foreseeable future on a rookie deal with some players who aren't expected to be here for years on end, like a DeAndre Hopkins. Tylan Wallace is entering a contract year, right? There's decisions to be made about that. You hope that Bate and Zay continue to be the duo for years to come. But this is exciting, knowing that he could be on a very similar trajectory to Bateman. Maybe we get to year 3 or 4 and they really need his services, and come that time, he's actually able to give you effectively those services.
And until then, if safeties are cheating up a little towards the line of scrimmage, go put Devontez out there, get the burners going. Here's a stock down, Bobby. This is not surprising. I won't read the whole thing. He had first on his list Chidobe Auzier. And I think the reasoning is pretty evident. He was sick, and then he wasn't healthy for the first parts of the OTAs. And then, they signed Jair Alexander. So he has been back after that initial kind of small injury and illness. And so here, though, this was interesting to me. Jeff says this may push Auzier more into a hybrid role, and he starts getting some looks at safety. Auzier missed a few, so he talks about what he missed, and he said when he came back for mandatory camp, he was in good form. But obviously his role seems less certain with the addition of Alexander. And Bobby, I'll do another stock up later in Susi Kane. But, we've talked about, will the Ravens sign another safety for depth purposes if Auzier can play a hybrid role, and if Susi Kane can send a message to the front office that says, hey, we don't need you to sign anybody, maybe they won't.
Yeah, maybe so. This is a luxury right now, the fact that 2 Flyers were essentially invested in and committed to in the last couple of weeks. I guess Cheeto's signing goes back farther than that, obviously, but for $10 million to bring in 2 CB3s, one of whom maybe folks feel like he could be CB1 at times, depending on his health. Pretty darn good. I'm referring to Jair and Cheeto. $10 million combined, you're bringing them in, and so knowing that both have had their fair share of injury history, it gives you a certain level of luxury and depth, hoping that both won't continue to deal with what's plagued them. Ultimately, I'm sure that was a factor in what led to the demise of Jair in Green Bay. His father has spoken out recently about some of the medical side of things, which we covered yesterday. And Cheeto, we know for sure that Tennessee, based on conversations that I've had with beat reporters in the Titans community, that they're willing to eat 7.5 M's this year because Cheeto's been unavailable for him. And they're going sort of down the youthful side of things. So hoping that both now are in a position to put their best foot forward in hopes of future contracts and have everything to play for is a great problem for the Ravens to have, being that they're going to both be jockeying for playing time.
Back to a stock up player. This one speaks to me because I named him. I mean, it's sort of dark horse, and I say dark horse only because he's buried in the depth chart. But Katon Mitchell, here's what Jeff had to say. There was a play during one of the OTAs where Mitchell caught a screen pass, sidestepped a defender, and burst upfield, showing the speed and explosiveness he possessed in his rookie season before a significant knee injury altered the trajectory of his young career. Mitchell acknowledged earlier this month that he was still navigating physical and mental hurdles upon his return last November. But he's looked both quicker and more assertive in recent weeks, and that's a great development for the Ravens, who will need to get him some touches on offense. And as a kick returner, he's far too explosive not to get utilized. Your thoughts?
Recently shared a little nugget with the media during his press conference that he reached a top speed of over 22 miles an hour, 22.4 to be exact, this spring. And that topped his rookie mark of 22.2 miles per hour. So if that translates to gameplay for him, we all remember in a small sample size what he was for this team, explosiveness wise, his rookie season, and the lightning that he could very well be to Derrick Henry's thunder. That I think is gives you all the credit in the world to use him as your dark horse. But it also just kind of makes you sit here, and I'm sure has Todd Monken in the lab thinking about what it might look like should he stay healthy with Derrick in the backfield. And that will be obviously the first time, if they both stay healthy, knock on wood, that they're going to be able to be in the same backfield together. I'm not sure how much we're going to see it, but at least that's an option for Todd.
Todd has a great problem to have, and that's to feed a lot of great weapons. Back to stock down. Interestingly, it is backup quarterback Cooper Rush. And, this may not stay this way. As Jeff points out, he's learning a new offense. He's working with new coaches, wide receivers, and tight ends that he's never worked with before. And then he was thrust into the starting role almost immediately. Remember, Lamar was only at one of the team's 9 OTAs. I think it was the first one that was open to the media. And so he had to jump in pretty quickly. He had some rough outings, according to Jeff. But Bobby, I think this is one where it's like he can clean up mistakes, get some more consistency. I feel like of backup quarterbacks out there, given his experience, that he'll find a way to kind of catch up.
Two things. One, there's a run happening right now. 1,000 is very much in the cards. We're getting $20 gift giving memberships here from PHP and others. So there is a legitimate run being had right now. Chalky White and PHP are going back and forth. So I will be staying on solo, I'm sure, to potentially get to that number so that you can get to your commitment. But my second thought is that this is an immediate upgrade from Josh Johnson. I don't think anything else needs to be said.
Yeah, absolutely. Even with the stock down coming out of the OTAs. Now here's one, a name that maybe some of you have heard, but I bet a fair bit of you have not. Jeff names for a stock up Ruben Lowry. This is a defensive back, and he's an undrafted rookie free agent. The Ravens had 20 of them. And given how stacked this roster is, it's going to be difficult for any of them to crack the 53-man roster week one.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult. However, Jeff says the one that probably opened the most eyes over the past couple of weeks was Lowry, who played in college at Tennessee, Chattanooga. He said that Ruben had a few interceptions and was regularly around the ball. And during one practice, Harbaugh called him over for a chat. It's hard. It's going to be hard for Lowry to win a job, he says, in Baltimore's crowded secondary, but it's a good thing that he already has the attention of the head coach. Every year, Bobby, we're asked, who's the undrafted rookie free agent that could make it? Well, for Jeff, it could be Ruben Lowry.
That would continue the theme in recent years of DBs being that player. Obviously, Bo Braid was that player last year. On the other side of the football, we all remember Pat Ricard back in 2017. There's been a slew of others. Josh Ross, right, at the linebacker position out of Michigan was a few years ago. So great start to spring for Ruben. Yeah, I didn't know his name, to your point, up until I started seeing beat reporters share it, what seemingly was every single day throughout OTAs. So that's a name to watch if you like a good under the radar underdog story coming up this summer.
Another stock up. I think there were more stock ups than stock down. And this goes back to the super chat we got a few minutes ago. Susi Kane's stock is up. Jeff points out the obvious that he has a major opportunity in front of him. Obviously we're all praying for our Darius Washington. We hope that he can make it back before the end of the season, both because he can help the Ravens, but also for himself. But until then, Jeff says that Kane has established himself as the front runner for AD's role. One of the team's busiest special teams players last season as a rookie, Kane has looked leaner and more explosive this offseason. He has got his hands on quite a few footballs during the offseason practices. He was going to have a special teams role regardless, but he's playing like a guy who is intent on earning defensive snaps as well. And so he says, we've been talking about the Ravens could sign a veteran safety in the coming weeks, but, quote, with his play, Kane provided an argument that Baltimore should stand pat and let a drafted young player get the first crack at that number 3 safety role.
Keep it going. The Geno Stone day 3 kind of trajectory maybe written all over him. Geno was a 7th round pick out of Iowa. We know that Susi, 7th round out of Purdue, the first ever Purdue player drafted to the Ravens throughout their 30-year history. So, Sarah, he's flashed a bit. He's a thumper in special teams. I can remember specific plays where he just laid it down last year, and maybe he's just going to pick up right where he left off this summer and make a case for himself to be in that rotation.
There were a couple plays he just looked like a hammer. Yeah.
What did Femi say? Pad popping, knee knocking type of player. Perhaps that's Susi.
That's perfect. One more stock down. I guess I had him out of order. He did have Emory Jones Jr. I don't think we need to go into this. He's been injured, and it sounds like the Ravens knew he was going to be injured and that he'd missed most of OTAs. Harbaugh did say that it would probably be back at some point during training camp. When he was drafted, there was lots of talk about him being in the competition to start for one of the guard jobs, but because he's missed so much time as a rookie, Jeff says that ship has probably sailed. And not only do the Ravens seem committed to starting Jones out of the tackle position now, he's just missed too many reps with that shoulder surgery. So it just stinks as a rookie to come in injured. And I would agree with him. The ship is probably sailed at the guard position. So now you just try to look to build him up and try to get him ready as a backup at either the guard or tackle position.
Nothing else to add there. We saw it last year, unfortunately, with TJ Tampa, right? Lost all of a good chunk of training camp and really never was able to see much outside of special teams reps once he got back from that injury.
And the final stock down being Tyler Loop, who we talked about with Femi. He says, and this is what I was talking about, Bobby, of why I have hope that he'll eventually get there. Jeff starts out saying that obviously senior special teams coach and kicking guru Randy Brown, he said that he's made some changes with Loop, which was the plan from the beginning. And so the goal is for Loop to be at his best come September, not in June. You said that earlier, that they're probably experimenting right now. However, Jeff says that doesn't mean it's not alarming when the rookie 6th round pick misses multiple kicks in practice. There was already going to be a ton of pressure on Loop in his kicking competition with the undrafted John Hoyland. And then he goes on to talk about how he's got big shoes to fill, given who Justin Tucker was. But this is why I said earlier, I'm hoping it's that these changes in the operation and the process is what's getting in his way. And they're experimenting. They can fine tune closer to September. But like Jeff said, it is something to watch. And you do not want to see, especially like extra points. I think I'd read that he had missed one of those. It's like, that's no bueno.
This paragraph is perfect for why he is. It's a non-negotiable. He is a stock down. I think that's inarguable.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's time to press the panic button yet for reasons that's stated here and then what I mentioned earlier on. Until we get into training camp and the competition is legitimately on and John Hoyland starts to make that case once these changes are in the rear view, because that's what OTAs are for. That's what mandatory minicamp is for. And once training camp rolls around, if some of those same issues are persisting, then that panic button starts to get a little enticing.
My request to you, partner, is that you text me if we hit over 1,000. I got to go. I got to take my girls to their voice lessons. But I appreciate everybody that has been contributing thus far, sending us off into vacation like this. And I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Won't see you for 10 years. Excuse me. 10 days. 10 days. I'm not leaving for 10 years. But while I'm going to enjoy my vacation, you do just miss this daily community for sure. And this like little injection of Ravens every day. So love all you Voltrons. Can't wait when we get back, do the soft launch with the merch line that we got coming. So much love to you, partner, and these guys. And I do hope you have a fantastic Asian vacation.
Same to you. Yeah, same to you. Enjoy the lake time. And I'll just reiterate that quickly. Two things. One, I know you got to go. One, I think there's a really good chance that we hit this number based on the run that's happening right now. Plus, I still got to get to quick hits. Plus, I still got to get to one more thing. And then the second part of that is, oh, shoot. What was the second part of that? Well, anyway, you got to go. I'm just, it just slipped my mind.
Well, Chalky just put in 20 more. So I think we're 30 away. I think Park will match that because that's what he's been doing. That would put us 10 away. So
I got some counting to do right now. We'll take care of business. Maybe you and I chat a little bit later on.
Yeah. Give me a ring.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Thank you guys for being with us today on this Tuesday. Obviously, as you've probably gathered by now, but just in case you're tuning in, because we have over 1,700 concurrents at the moment, Tila, today, in terms of live formatting, is the final live stream of the month. So July 7th, we will be back in live formatting after our vacation and gearing up for training camp. Rookies report on the 15th, veterans the 22nd. We'll get to some of those other updates in just a second. But we got some counting to do for sure. Quick hits, one more thing, and a number of other things to do as well. So we left off with Park Heights Profit and Heather McCubbin's trading memberships. Heather came back in and provided another one, which brings us to 889. Chuck Lund followed her up with a Voltron membership to bringing us to 890. Park Heights Profit then gifted 2 in a row to bring us to 892. You guys are something else. You know that? Again, I want to reiterate that when you become a channel member or you are a recipient of a gift, you will be eligible for early access for our soft launch. After our soft launch coming up in early July, and you'll have first crack at the first ever merch line, which we got a little sneak peek at yesterday. I'm just going to say, I'm pretty excited about some of the apparel line and some of these merch items that we have coming up. Romy Raven gets us back to super chats with €1. I believe that's euros, €5, excuse me. Romy writes, trigger warning, off topic. My favorite YouTuber killed herself because of relentless bullying and hate. Remember to be kind to one another. R.I.P. Michaela. Did I see something on this, Romy? First of all, happy belated. I know you had a birthday recently in the Discord. I saw that. R.I.P. Michaela. Was this because of a Reddit thread, Romy? Let us know. Either way, I'm sorry for your loss. That's horrific. We know, and I'm sure you guys know, that when you become a subscriber of someone and they become a part of your daily lives, it does feel like in a lot of ways that you know them, just the same way that I feel like I know Romy because of her name and how consistent she is in the live chat. So just because you haven't met somebody in person does not take away from the significance of loss. So best wishes, Romy, and rest in peace to Michaela. While I'm not familiar with her, absolutely rest in peace. Yvette gifts us a channel membership, bringing us to 893. Thank you very much, Yvette. Park Heights Profit, as he's done really the entire show, matches that, bringing us to 894. And if you're wondering when the run begins, it hasn't happened yet. The run is on soon here. Dreams, Queon says it's 101 here in Virginia. Please be safe in this heat. Again, more wishes, more well wishes, and more prayers up for your cousin. For sure. Queon, thanks for the message. Chalky White, the run is on. 20. That's 20 Voltrons. So 20 new Voltrons, 20 new subscribers have, because of Chalky White's generosity, become Voltrons, meaning they are going to have access to our soft launch and our merch line coming up in just a couple weeks when we get back. So 894 plus 20 brings us to 914. And Park Heights Profit, because you know what he does at this point, matches Chalky White's gift of 20. And that brings us to 934. What's up with the 20? Incredibly generous. 934 because of Chalky White and Park Heights Profit. Park Heights, oh, wait a second. I didn't see the run that's just went on in the last 5 minutes because once Sarah got off, I had no clue what was happening here. I hadn't seen this. So Chalky got it started at 112. I'm going to give you a chronological order here. Quick hits are coming, I promise. We're going to hit that number. 934 is where we sit after 120 spot from Chalky White, 120 spot from Park Heights Profit. But then Chalky comes in again with a 20 spot. So from 934, we go to 954. This is insane and very hard to do without your partner, I might add. So thank you for bearing with me. 954 is where we sit because of Chalky and PHP who are trading 20 spot donations right now. Park Heights Profit decides to go another 20 on top of what he's already done. I'm going to have to count you up, PHP, because I'm pretty sure you're getting to 100. But right now, we are at 974 as I count this out in real time. Park Heights, after that, throws in a 10 spot. So that brings us to 984. PHP, can't wait to meet you, man. Everybody, we're definitely going to be doing. So that 984 is where we are. Yvette says, LOL, hurry up, Bobby. Getting hungry. Have a great vacation, you too. I know. I got to hurry up. It's difficult. So 984. We are 16 channel memberships out from 1,000 thanks to a big-time run there between Chalky White and Park Heights Profit. Thank you, guys. Let's see if we hit that number throughout the course of quick hits and one more thing, which is coming up in just a bit. Jair Alexander is taking Trenton Simpson's number, a classy move from the third-year player out of Clemson. Jair comes to Baltimore, of course, having been released by the Green Bay Packers within the last couple weeks after a restructured contract could not be agreed to. Other jersey changes. So Jair takes 23. Trenton's going from 23 to 32, previously worn by Marcus Williams. Cheeto goes from 25 to 3, most recently worn, I don't know about recently, but most notably worn by Odell Beckham Jr. when he was here. Bo Braid goes from 28 to 25. And of course, Jair, as Jonas notes on X here, has worn number 23 since he arrived in the NFL. So classy there by Trenton. Shows you some camaraderie, shows you some selflessness. And now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jair gets to stick with what's worked out pretty darn well for him when healthy throughout the course of his 7-year career. Kevin Durant is now a Houston Rocket. I was going to say Texan, but that would be inaccurate. He's been traded to the Houston Rockets. KD's career continues. Really a legendary figure. And maybe just as legendary in the Twitter space because KD's always got time, guys. The dude always has time. What do I mean by that? This guy loves getting in people's mentions, whether he's tagged or not. It's like Zinger Central when you're dealing with KD online. Now, this isn't a zinger. He's referring to, or I should say responding to Rocket K11. I assume that's a Rockets fan. And they wrote, who's the best linebacker of all time? And he hits a Ray Lewis gif. So while he may be a Commanders fan, isn't he a part owner? Is KD a part owner of the Commanders? Why do I feel like he's on the ownership team as a minority owner? Am I making that up? I thought he has a certain minor stake or something like that. But just because he has Commanders loyalty, being that he grew up in PG County, he still thinks 52, and this is an accurate take, is the best linebacker of all time. Where did this all begin? Well, I knew you guys would appreciate this one. Emanuel Acho on the facility recently put forth his legacy formula, where he goes into essentially, I don't know what this formula is, but he's essentially looking at some of the all-time greats in the NBA and where they rank in overall legacy score. He's got Steph with a 4-0. He's been with one team his entire career, future Hall of Famer, 4 NBA title rings. LeBron's been with 3 teams, 4 rings as well, and a 1.3 scale. I assume this scales out of 4. I don't know. KD's been with 5 teams, a 0.4 scale. He does have 2 championships, both of which came, of course, in Golden State. And KD, the formula really doesn't matter, right? What matters is that KD just took Emanuel Acho to task. According to the great Kevin Durant's legacy formula that was created in the best labs at MIT, Emanuel is the worst linebacker of all time. You guys sure you want to listen to this guy about greatness? Oh, KD never changed. I love a superstar who is so engaged with a social media app like Twitter. He's not even tagged in this. I'm sure he was tagged a million times in Acho's mentions. But yeah, Dre, was this equivalent of a dog walking? Because to me, it seems like that's the case. KD basically dog walks people all day, every day when he's got time. And my, oh my, does he have some time this offseason? Acho catches one on the chin there from KD in the A gap. Training camp notes. And I have some dates to go along with this as well from some of the beat reporters who were publishing this earlier today. But training camp passes. I know a lot of you absolutely love the opportunity to get out to Owings Mills, get your first look at this team. July 23rd through August 12th is training camp. And that's when passes will be available and fans can pop out and check out the team. They become available on July 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern. They typically go very fast, within minutes. July 15th, rookies report. July 22nd, veterans report. July 23rd is the first full team practice. August 3rd is the annual practice at M&T Bank Stadium, which is an open practice. August 5th is a one-day session, joint practice with the Colts. And August 13th is the final camp practice. Okay. 16 free open practices, 1,000 fans per day throughout this portion right here, throughout these date timelines that you're looking at. It's going to be a 3:00 practice at M&T Bank on the 3rd, which I mentioned. Again, that's that open practice. And make sure you're ready to go. BaltimoreRavens.com, July 9th, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's when passes become available. Those days when I had access were great because you're obviously getting a great perspective, but at the same time, it is hot and treacherous out there. So plan accordingly. Dress appropriately for the weather. Bring your liquids and have a great time out there. July 9th. Be on the lookout. I believe our soft launch is the 11th, by the way. Isaiah Likely showing up to Tight End University this year with his girlfriend. Travis Kelce, Greg Olsen, George Kittle, of course, leading the way. This is their organization. Boy, it's really, they brought this thing to new heights. Tight end U, Isaiah, a representative, as he should be. Perhaps a big year on deck for the fourth-year player out of Coastal Carolina. Ravens Productions brought home 13 Emmy Awards this year. That's the most in a single year. And they just continue to do exceptional work. Whether it's Ravens Wired, whether it's draft-related content, social media content, you name it. These guys are just extraordinary. So congratulations to them. Marlin Humphrey listed his condo in Harbor East, as you see here from the Sun, for $2.5 million. It's in the Liberty Harbor East Apartments. We used to be neighbors. Not really. I lived on Bond Street in Fells Point. Couldn't be farther away. It's actually not that far at all. I used to walk by his place every day. I would see him often, matter of fact, through Fells. I love Marlon. We got off on the wrong foot. We got off on the wrong foot. Foot. We got off on the wrong foot my rookie season as a media member when he kind of tried to one-word me almost as if it was a little rookie hazing. But he's since become not a regular guest of ours, but he's been on in the past. He's been super generous with his time, and now he's a father, longest tenured Raven on the defensive side of the ball. What a player he's become and has maintained. Anyway, let's see. He purchased it for around $2.8 million, listed the property for sale February 11th. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, panoramic views of Baltimore skyline, so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure he put a putting green in up there. So I think Marlin has a house. I don't know what his plans are, but